Hi, I'm Mel from Barre. I'm going to be taking you through a 20-minute stretch sequence. So if it's the end of your day, you can maybe dim the lights, light a few candles, or if it's throughout the middle of the day, just giving yourself a nice space to relax, let your nervous system drop and enjoy. I'm wearing Barre from mode Sportif, and we're going to get started just by sitting back onto your heels. So as you sit back onto the heels, if that's not comfortable, you can pop a towel between your bottom and your heels, or you can even come up into a kneel. And we're going to start by stretching out the neck. So we'll take a big inhale and let your rib cage expand out to the side. As you exhale, you'll drop the right ear to the right shoulder. You can close down the eyes. We're going to inhale, lift your head up, back on top of the shoulders. As you exhale, drop the left ear to the left shoulder. So just gently rocking your head from right to left. We'll lift up, drop your right ear to your right shoulder, and just pause there for a moment. You're going to take your left hand down by the side of the body and flex your fingertips up to the ceiling. You're pressing the heel of the hand down towards the floor. You're going to roll your nose towards your right armpit, and then rolling your nose up towards the sky. You're rolling your nose down towards your armpit and up, and you're just looking for some of the tighter fibers through the neck, just feeling into it through your body, if it's more towards the back of the neck or the middle or right in through the front. Just allowing those fibers to start to soften, loosen and lengthen. And we're going to relax that left hand back onto the thigh. Bring your head back onto your shoulders, and we'll take your left ear to your left shoulder. And you can take the right hand by the side of the body, pull your fingertips up to the ceiling and drive your right heel of the hand down to the floor. And you're rolling your nose down to your left armpit and your nose up towards the ceiling. The nose rolls down towards the armpit and back up to the ceiling. And you can just keep moving through this action, or if you've got a tight spot, you can just let yourself sink into it. So you really use the weight of the head to stretch out the muscles through the neck. It's loosening, especially if we've been sitting all day. And we might have quite a different ergonomic setup if you're working from home, so it might be starting to feel a little bit tight through your neck or your shoulders. If you're noticing you're getting headaches, like postural headaches, it's quite nice just to loosen into these areas. We'll place the right hand back onto the leg, head back on top of shoulders. We lift your shoulders up to the ears and you let them melt back down to the floor. So just rolling your shoulders up to your ears, rolling them back behind you and down to the floor. Lifting and rolling back. And one more here, lifting and rolling back. Bring yourself forward into a 4-point kneel. And I'll flip around so you can see my profile. So you've got your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. You're going to tuck your tailbone under and let yourself round up into a cat stretch. So you drop your head to your thumbs and you push up between the shoulder blades and let the weight of the head drop down to your thumbs as you release deeper into the neck. And then we start to reverse down again, flicking your bottom back behind you, opening up the belly and lifting your heart up towards the sky. And you tuck your tailbone under, you start to round your spine up to the ceiling, dropping your head to your thumbs, pulling your pubic bone forward to your nose, and reversing down, lengthening out through the belly, through the back, opening the heart space, lifting up to the sky. Let's just roll through one more time, tucking the tailbone under, rippling your spine up to the sky. And reversing back down again, opening the chest and lifting the heart forward. And bringing yourself into a tabletop position so the spine is long. We're going to take your right leg back behind you, tuck your right toes under and push the right heel right back. So get that openness through the right hip, but more than that, you get a really deep stretch through your right heel. So you really push the right heel back and down. You're going to take the right leg now straight out to the side. Now I'll swivel around so you can see me a little better. You've got right leg out to the side, hands are still under the shoulders. You reach the left arm up towards the sky. Stretching your left arm up, let your chest open. As you exhale, stretch your left hand through so it's parallel to your right leg. Press into the right hand to lift yourself up. Stretch your left fingertips up to the ceiling, so open the chest, open the heart space. And as you exhale, you stretch your arms through, parallel to the right leg. And let's move through that one more time. You stretch up. Hopefully you're getting a nice deep stretch through the right inner thigh. Reach your left hand through, and you can just rest your left shoulder blade and your head on the floor, And reach the right arm forward if you can. Otherwise, just keep it in underneath the shoulder. Just breathe into that. You can send your sit bones back behind you. You can send your right foot a little further out. Just feeling that deep stretch through the right inner thigh. We'll walk the right hand in, press into the hand, bring yourself back into a 4-point kneel. We'll take your right leg in and send your left leg straight back behind you. You're going to push your heel right back and down. So you might feel the left hip open, but it's that deep stretch through the calf that you want to feel through the back of the left leg. And we'll take your left leg straight out to the side now. You might feel straight into a stretch in the left inner thigh. We'll get a little deeper into that as you take your right arm up towards the ceiling. You open the chest, stretch up a little higher if you can. And as you exhale, you thread the right arm through so it's parallel to the left leg. And pressing into your left hand to bring yourself up, reach the right fingertips up to the sky. And thread your right arm through, parallel to the leg. And last time through, you reach the right arm up towards the sky. As you exhale, you reach it through to the leg. You can rest your right shoulder blade down here. You can keep your left hand forward or underneath the shoulder. Let yourself sink into it. Your bottom may be reaching back. You might even slide your left foot out a little bit deeper. A stronger inner thigh stretch. And we'll slide your left hand in, press into that left hand, bringing yourself back into your 4-point kneel. And we'll take the left leg back in. We're going to slide your right leg back behind you, then your left leg back behind you, and send your hips up towards the ceiling. So you're in an A frame or a downward dog shape. You're going to bend your right knee and drive your left heel down to the floor. And bending your left knee, drive your right heel down to the floor. Just keep massaging through the legs, moving slowly. Letting your chest draw to your thighs. Your neck and your shoulders are relaxed. And we're going to meet with your left knee bent and your right heel driving down to the mat. Stretch your left leg up towards the sky, all the way up nice and high, opening the hip. We're going to bend your left knee, roll your left knee up to the ceiling, and just imagine honey on your left toes dripping down to the floor as you open up strongly through the left hip. And we can close that knee in. We're looking forward to the hands and stepping your left foot forward and your right knee down. So we're going to have your left heel, which will be in line with your sit bone, so it's not out to the side, it's more closer to the midline. Your left hand can rest on your left thigh. Your right arm reaches up towards the sky. Let the right hip sink down. Your shoulders are relaxed. And you side bend over towards the left, so reaching over to the left, lengthen through your fingertips. And coming back, we'll take your hands down to frame your left foot. We're going to untuck your back toes, straighten the front leg and keep your toes facing down to the floor. You lunge forward again. So we're just going to move forwards and backwards, forward and back, keeping your left toes pointing down to the mat, lengthening the leg. Next time your left leg is straight, you can pause there. Keep your hands either side of the leg. Feel your left sit bone drop straight down to the floor, so you get a stronger stretch through the back of the left leg, and you're trying to keep your toes down on the mat if you can. See if you can lengthen the spine away from the pelvis, and now pull your toes up towards the ceiling and take your toes back down to the floor. So you're pulling your toes up to the ceiling and lowering them down to the floor. We'll just do that a few more times, moving through the ankle, just increasing the stretch for the calf. And last time here, and now as you come forward into a lunge, we're going to take both hands on the inside of that left foot and toe heel the left foot out. So with the hands a little bit wider, you can roll your left knee open to the side and roll it back in. So you roll it open and in, knee turns out and in. We'll do a few more of those. And the next time your knee rolls out, you pause there. So you can stay here on the hands or you can come down onto the forearms. So you're either on both hands or you're on both forearms, not on a half up, half down. And you're going to try and breathe and relax into it, letting that left knee open, shoulders relax. And we'll slowly bring ourselves back up. Pull the knee back in. You're going to take your foot, toe heel it across now to your right hand. Drop the shin down. We want to try and get your shin parallel towards the front of the mat. So you might need something underneath your left bottom, or you can pull the foot a little bit closer into the hip if you don't have any props or if you're finding it a bit more comfortable for the hip. As you come forward, you lengthen your spine forward over the left shin. Let yourself fold down and take a moment. You're going to keep reaching your right toenails back behind you. You can roll a bit more weight down into the right side of the pelvis, so it's going to deepen the stretch for the left outer hip. We'll slowly bring ourselves up, hands are onto the floor, you press into the hands, tuck your back toes under, lift up through the hip, send yourself into a plank and straight back up to the ceiling, into your pike. And again, just go back into a pedal and you can really feel the difference now through both sides of the legs, the calf, the hamstring, feeling a lot looser through the left-hand side. And we're going to have your right knee bent, your left heel sink down to the floor, and we'll pause there for a moment. Then reach your right toes up to the sky. You're going to bend your right knee, roll the right knee open to the sky, and feel the right toes drip down to the floor as you open up strongly through the right hip. Aiming to keep your shoulders square, your chest square. And you square off the pelvis, look forward to the hands and step your right foot forward. Drop your back knee down to the floor. And you can take your right hand onto the leg, resting, left hand up to the sky, untuck the back toes. You lift yourself up as if someone's pulling your fingertips up towards the ceiling, and you side bend over towards the right, lengthening away, reaching up and over, sinking into the left hip. And as you pull yourself back to center, take your hands down to frame your right foot, and you're going to straighten your leg, sending your hips back behind you and come forward. So we're just going to keep moving through. We straighten the leg. We lunge forward, lifting the chest. Straighten the leg and lunging forward. And now as we come forward, we just pause there for a moment and send your hips back behind you. Keep your toenails down on the floor, your toes down on the floor. You're going to roll the right hip back behind you and down to the floor. So feel that dropping back and down. Try to keep the toes down, breathing into it, lengthening the spine away from the pelvis. And now you're pulling your toes up towards the ceiling and lowering your toes down to the floor. So you pull your toes up to the ceiling and take your toes down to the floor, just rolling up and back, moving through the ankle joint. We'll do 2 more. And last one, and you can lunge yourself forward again. Let's take both hands on the inside of the right foot. You toe heel the foot out, take your hands nice and wide, roll the right knee open, roll it back in. So loosening to the right hip socket. You might feel a stretch through the left hip. Next time you have your right knee open to the side, you can pause there, stay on both hands, or drop down onto your forearms. So finding a position where you're either on both forearms or both hands, and it can be different for both sides, so you're just feeling into it. We'll try and even ourselves out with time, but just notice where you are today. Breathing into it, allow your hips to soften. So notice if you ever hold a stretch where you feel like you're holding tension in your body, where things are starting to grip, and just see if you can let yourself melt into it a little bit more, using the breath to ease the tension, melt the tension. And we're going to slowly come back up onto the hands, pull the knee back in, take the right hand on the outside of the foot, and you toe heel that right leg along to the left hand, and you drop the shin down. And you can flick your foot towards your bottom, or see if you can line it up with the front of the mat. We'll have that as our goals. You reach your left leg back behind you, so your toenails are down. You lengthen the spine, and you lengthen and fold forward over the right shin. You can fold the hands, you can rest your head on your hands like a pillow. And if you sink a little bit more weight down through the left side of your pelvis, you're going to get into a deeper stretch through the right hip. You can just breathe and rest into it. Taking a moment here. If there's any stretch you feel like you need a little bit more time, feel free to pause and just rest into it till you feel it really soften and release. And we're going to come now back up onto the hands, tucking your back toes, push yourself back into your plank, and you lower your knees straight down to the floor. We're going to untuck your toes, sagging your hips, so you let go through the front of the hips, through the belly, through the bottom, and you melt all the way down onto the belly. Push yourself up, keep your bottom relaxed, your belly relaxed, flick back to your feet. Come forward, sag your hips forward, really open the belly, the hips, let it all stretch out as you roll down. Then tuck your chin into your throat, push yourself up, flick your chin now up towards the ceiling and melt down to the floor. Chin to throat, push into the hands, you roll up. Chin to ceiling, you melt back down. Last time like this, chin to throat, you push up, chin to ceiling, and you melt back down. And we're going to take our left arm out to the side, so it's like a goalpost arm out to the side. Your right hand's going to hold onto your right foot, and you push the foot up to the ceiling. You're going to see if you can press your pubic bone down into the floor. Keep trying to push the right thigh up, and now lift the chest with the foot. So you really push and open the right hip, and melt down. Let's do that 2 more times. So you can slightly press into your left hand. You push the foot into the hand as you lift up, opening the chest, and lowering down. Last time through, you push up, lifting up, and release. Keep holding onto your foot. You can use a strap if you can't reach onto the foot. You're going to take your left arm straight out to a T, so it reaches out from the shoulder. Take your right hand by your right shoulder, and then flick the right side of your pelvis over. So the stretch here is for the front of the left shoulder and chest. So if you wiggle your fingers a little higher up, you might find a deeper stretch. Just depends on the body and where the tension might be, where the tightness might be. Often bringing the hand a little higher, you can get into a deeper stretch. And we'll roll ourselves back onto the tummy, straighten the right leg. Take your right arm out to the side like a goalpost. Your left hand hooks onto your left foot. You're going to push your left foot and pull yourself up. Keep pressing your pubic bone down as you open the chest. And then melt yourself down to the floor. We've got 2 more like that. You push the foot into the hand, you open up through the chest, and you lower it down. And one last time, push the foot into the hand, opening up. As you melt all the way down, take your right arm straight out to the side, take your left hand to your left shoulder, flick the left side over. And again, you can walk that right hand up, finding a deeper stretch. And you roll yourself back onto the belly. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. Push yourself up onto your knees. Soften the belly, the front of the hips, looking up. As you roll yourself down, see if you can walk your hands closer towards your belly button. And you push yourself up. And rolling down. Just 1 more like this as we push up. You flick your bottom back to your feet. And just let yourself stretch here, opening up the lower back. So as you creep your fingertips forward, bend your elbows down onto the floor. See if you can sink your bottom a little heavier onto your heels. And we're going to slowly lift your bottom, tuck your toes under, push your hips up towards the ceiling, and let's just walk your feet forward without your knees bending. Stretching out through the back of the legs. We're going to now bend the knees to step your left foot forward, your right foot back behind you. And dropping your head down towards your toes. So really relaxing your shoulders, dropping all the way down. I might just swap my feet over to show you this next stretch. You're going to take your right hand onto the outside of your left foot. And now keep walking your hands around till you start to pivot on the feet and your fingertips and your toes are in the same direction. And you're going to see if you can drop your head and keep your legs as straight as possible. So it's a nice deep stretch deep into your hips. And we'll roll ourselves back around and just swapping your legs over. So 1 foot forward, opposite leg back. Your left hand walks to the outside of your right foot and you start to pivot on the feet, dropping your head down. And you can just play around with the distance of the feet. You can see how it feels for you to have your feet further back or a little bit closer together as you twist into the hips. We're going to step both feet together, walk your hands forward again, walk your feet back, drop your knees down, melt down onto the belly, and let's roll straight onto the side. So you can just turn to face the camera. And we're going to have our hands forward and the head just dropping down to the floor. So you can use a pillow if you've got one close by or if you find it more comfy. Otherwise, just let the head go so you just relax any tension through the neck. Your knees are going to be bent forward And your top arm is going to start to circle around your body like you're drawing a perfect circle in sand all the way around. So your hand will come and brush your hip and reach it forward. And we'll do that 2 more times. Roll all the way around. Keeping your tummy nice and soft. Opening up across the neck, the shoulders. And now holding it there, we're going to open the top arm up towards the ceiling. So just the arm moves to start, and then you let the chest open as you reach all the way back behind you. Keeping your knees stacked so the knees could almost slide forward and the fingertips open away from one another. Then we come all the way back. We'll do that 2 more times. So you open the arm, you reach all the way back, opening the chest, and coming all the way back. And last time, opening up through the arm, reaching open through the chest. And coming all the way back. Just roll straight onto your back and onto the other side, and I'll flip around so you can still see me. So with your knees bent forward, your arms reach straight out from your chest, and your head drops down to the floor, or you can use a pillow if you're finding it more comfortable. You're going to let your top arm circle all the way around the body, and just letting yourself let go here, so you soften the belly, the waist, the hips, just letting everything stretch out as you draw your big circles around the body. It's like your circle could be a little bit bigger every time you circle around. And we're coming to stack the palms. Arms are still directly in line with your shoulders, and you open up the top arm and reach all the way back behind you, stretching open and coming to bring the arm back, and you've got 2 more like that. So just letting the head roll with the chest as you open back and coming down. And last time, you open all the way up and coming all the way back. And we're going to press ourselves up. So we're going to stay with our legs flicking off to the side. So whichever way your legs are flicking off to the side, you're going to stack your spine, reach your arms right out to the side of you, so you're a letter T. You're going to go towards the bent legs. As you reach down towards the bent legs, you reach the top arm up and over, looking up towards the sky. Then taking that top hand behind your pelvis and pushing up onto the hips, reach the arm back behind you. Dropping your bottom down, take the hand onto the shin, reach up and over, look up towards the sky. Take your top hand behind you, push up onto the shins and reach back, really thrusting your hips forward. 1 more time. We reach up and over. Taking the hand behind you, push up and back and coming down, and let's flick the legs in the opposite direction. So just flicking over. We're going to reach your arms out to a T. Grabbing onto the shin, you reach up and over, looking up towards the sky. Take the top hand behind you and push up. And dropping your bottom down, reaching up and over, looking up. Top hand behind you, press into the shins, reach the top arm back behind. And last time through, you reach over, looking up. And hand comes behind, pushing all the way up towards the ceiling, opening the hips. And as you come down, you cross your legs over. So you've got your legs crossed, your hands, palms face up towards the ceiling, and they're resting on your knees. You're sitting nice and tall, close down the eyes. Take an inhale, sending the breath all the way down towards the lower belly. Exhale, sighing the air out. We'll do 2 more deep breaths together. Inhale, send the breath down to the lower tummy. Exhale, letting it go. 1 last time through as you take a deep inhale breath. And exhale. And you're very welcome to lay down on your mat, take an extra few moments to really drop into it and use all that space that you've just created in your body and your mind. Thanks for joining me.